Hello, everyone. How's it going? Sorry for my tardiness. I appreciate you all for being here. I'll keep it really swift and jump right into it. Today, this conversation, just to give you a little background, my name is Jalen Gildersleeve, and this conversation will be a vulnerable conversation on power. Originally being from Flint, Michigan, and having the pleasure of going to the illustrious Clark Atlanta University and also attending Georgia Institute of Technology, I know a little bit about these complex power dynamics. And I've had the pleasure of being able to work with very powerful people and some less powerful people. And across that spectrum, I've seen the most important power, the most important aspect of power that most people don't understand is that it's relational. And the amount of power you have is correlated to the amount of power you believe you have and the way you've constructed your container. So since we're having such a powerful opportunity to hack for justice, I thought I would talk about these concepts that have eluded me a lot since I've been growing up, originally, like I said, from Flint. So I think one of the most important things is to really define both power and, to some extent, justice. So whenever I'm going through these complex things, I always like to both set like parameters, right? Set a higher bound, an upper bound, and a lower bound, really give myself a good understanding contextually of what I'm dealing with. And not to go too deep into it, I will say that for me, a good starting place has been seeing like Mikhail Foucault and Noam Chomsky, like a famous linguistic and a famous social theorist. And if you don't know either one of them, I definitely recommend checking them both out. Very, very sharp guys. And they do a great job of showing the context of power versus justice. And the power that they're more referring to is more of like statehood power and the proletariat. And for you, those of you who don't know, the proletariat is like that working class, which again, I'm originally from. So I think it's really important to realize like your power that you start with does not limit you. And the reason I like to start there is because I feel like a lot of people get caught up in the idea of power that's more defined as like supremacy power, as Cindy Suarez, the writer of the Power Manual, and another great person who's helped me understand my own relationship with power a lot better. After reading her book this year called The Power Manual, or and How to Master Complex Power Dynamics, she really helped me understand contextually the ability to integrate these things and understand that supremacy power is only one type. And a lot of people, when trying to give power to people in the working class and things of that nature, they always think of like supremacy power, like how can I force others to want to be a part of this power transfer and things of that nature. And the other type of power that she does a great job of explaining is called liberation or liberating power. And I think that concept actually has been super powerful for me as an individual to really understand like you can't empower or shift the substrate or the construct or the container of something unless you understand the factors and have good context and an ability to navigate through that complex space. So I just wanted to set the terms and the container for that definition of power and just really stress on the fact that we all have the ability to move power, change power, and have different accesses to power. And now in this digital first age, I just wanted to make sure that we all had enough context because we are in one of the first generations where we have considerable access to the internet. And although COVID has been very terrifying for a lot of people and a very potent reality check, it's important to remember that we have now accelerated adoption about 10 years in the last 8 months. So with that, we should all be, or 10 months, with that, we should all be proud and take responsibility that we've been a part of this massive shift and that we've all been, for lack of better words, some of us have been a little bit less brave, but for the most part, we've all been brave and really holding together and really being compassionate and considerate with each other as we go through all of these changes and evolution. So having that patience is actually part of power and understanding your own power. But I know we got started a little late here, so just to get to the key points so that we can either open up for questions or allow you all to aggress early is really understanding that in this current world where we're in a knowledge first economy and we're growing to the talent economy where creators are empowered and inspired to shift narratives, and your stories are more important than ever, but also more to the person who went before me, and I appreciate her sharing her story. You have more power than ever in your own story, and now media don't have to own your story or control it. So it's really important for you to take back that narrative, understand that despite it feeling like it's a lot of things in change and in flux, change is a constant, and one of the few constants that we know of. And that when you figure out your own essence and your own ability to manage power in your own journey, you'll be much more imbued and much more empowered. So along that same line, in the context of justice, so if power is the ability to affect change, justice is the container that power should be used in a way that is considerate of all of the other people in that context. So it's that consideration, it's that just is the core word there, right? So really the justice is pushing towards, in my opinion, more of an equality component where we can push that narrative, but it's really important that we be a part of the change that we want to see and take our time in this current age to really leverage power and through these unique channels. And one of my favorite things about this is as much as I think protesting shows the power of individuals and the ability to express yourself and the ability to express not only what you care about, but what you're against. And I think that's really powerful. Why has that not been innovated? So that's why I think this is a beautiful opportunity. That's why I think this is a great opportunity also for us to come together and really shift that narrative in controlled and safe spaces. Because I think what we don't realize is this is a change that's already happening, and now we're just creating more context for it to have for a more smooth and effortless transition. So with that in mind, I'll touch on the key points one more time just so that everyone has them, and then give you all some resources so that we can all stay abreast and stay informed on this situation. Essentially, the high level is power is about sharing and understanding that enabling people with power is real liberation or liberatory power. And then understanding that supremacy power is what we've been seeing implemented constantly. And that doesn't mean it's the only way. It's just the way that we've been able to evolve the most. And that doesn't mean that any natural selection is happening there. Honestly, I think it's because of ignorance and our lack of ability to empower women to also lead from the front, which I think is something else that would be really powerful. And then injustice is really about understanding your role of power and how you affect the people around you. So with that, I want to leave you all with an excerpt from Cindy Suarez's book, The Power Manual, because I think it's super powerful and it helped me tons. And I think one of the most other powerful concepts I can leave you with is reestablish your relationships, redefine how you feel about power and education and government and money. Knowing how to take that power back and reestablish those relationships is another form of power. So to give you a segment from her book, she says, power, first of all, is relational. It operates in relationships of inequality where we seek advantage, and it's so intentional. On the other hand, we lessen by our ability to exert the quality of right and the opportunity in that interaction. Power is exercised and not acquired. And the last part I'll leave you with is power is never absolute. There's always resistance, and power is a force of relationships based on inequality. So with that in mind, one's power is their ability to dominate or control things or people. And libertary power, to be more exact, is the ability to create what we want. And it stems from the abundance consciousness. So always remember that you have access to that abundance consciousness and that you're already doing a great job. So really being patient with yourself as you go through this journey and evolve through this process is the key. And keep creating. Being expressive and clarifying your own essence is also a key part of your own power. So with that, I'll open it up for any questions and see if you have any insights, Josh, and ways that we can continue to add value to more people.
Yeah, no, I think we said most of the questions and answers for Discord, but thank you very much for presenting Very, very powerful narrative, and we're really excited for you to be here, Jalen, as you work with us in a number of ways, and hope that you can drive value to your ecosystem and the ecosystems that we affect changing on a normal basis. So really excited that you were able to share that amazing information with us.
Yeah, of course. I'm just hoping other people get more access to knowledge, resources, and power.
Great, beautiful. Well, thank you for coming. Next, we'll jump into our next session, and I will see y'all soon.
Yeah, see you in the networking session.